Okay, so I'm on a driving trip, and I just left headquarters, which is at Doonan near Yamundi, about an hour and a bit ago. I've travelled 37 kilometres. I just pulled over at a little rest stop, had snoodles, tidied the car, rearranged things, found a new way of storing the various bits and pieces of the vehicle, which is always a problem. And I've been clamouring to start this trip now for a while, and finally underway. And I'm going to a whole bunch of different places, but one of the places that I want, which is kind of like the anchor tenant of the journey, is to go to a place called Moree, because at Moree there are hot springs. And the reason I want to go to the hot springs is because I just want to sit in the hot springs and give my wounded hand some therapy, but also hot springs tie into Vita Sapien and Vita Sapien practices, in particular the practice called Cosmos and Lava. Alright, so the practice Cosmos and Lava calls upon us to contemplate what lies above and below the living planet. What lies above and below Vitae Planeta. What lies above the living planet is this vast vacuum of space stretching out a diameter of 93 billion light years across to the edge of the visible universe. Very, very, very cold. And what lies below Vitae Planeta is magma, the molten rock at the core of the Earth, which sometimes becomes apparent when it comes to the surface in the form of a volcano and lava, and other times it becomes apparent through hot water, which is the hot springs. So in the practice Cosmos and Lava, one is invited to go to a place where you can see the cosmos. All right, and what that means is a place where there is very low or practically no artificial night sky brightness. I'm just driving through a little town called Kenilworth right now, which is kind of a significant place for me. I won't really stop, but I probably won't, because I'm a man on fire right now. Go to a place where you can see the full star field. You want to go during Milky Way season, which is generally around September. I can explain this diagrammatically in another video. And you want to go to a place where you can see the stars without the interference of artificial light. There's a policeman zapping me. Fortunately, I'm only doing 46 kilometers. Just waved at him. He waved back. Sweet. And lava is to go and look at a volcano. And volcanoes can be dangerous. In fact, just the other day, there was an explosion at the Yellowstone National Park. They've got like a mud geyser there, and there's this video you can see online on Twitter. I saw it, where there was just like this boom, and there's an explosion of hot mud. It doesn't look like anybody got hurt, but there's lots of people running away, and video footage of the damage to the boardwalks. So, and also I was reading about White Island, which is in New Zealand, where in 2021, I think it was, 22 people died when this volcanic island, which was a tourism resource, basically blew a huge volume of superheated steam and basically burnt to death 22 people and wounded 25. So going to volcanoes can be a bit tricky, if you know what I'm saying. So if you want to do the Cosmos and Lava without the risk, then go to a well-managed hot spring, and that's what's at Moree, and I just want to see that. There's a whole bunch of them around Australia. I've mapped out maybe 20 or so. Some of them have been drilled. These are like boreholes that tapped down into hot water and it comes up under pressure. And some of them are actually naturally occurring. Some of them are basically just holes in the ground with mud, and some of them have got really elaborate tourism infrastructure built around them. And so I'm just going to go and check that out. I've been in a few hot springs. I've been at Innet Hot Springs, which is inland near Innisfail, up in North Queensland. I've been to hot springs in Savu Savu in Fiji, which is basically just like a little hole in the ground. And I went to the hot springs in Mornington Peninsula. I didn't go in because I didn't have enough money. It's a bit expensive. That's really kind of like high-end tourism. High-end. And I've also been to Hot Mud, right, which counts, in Nha Trang in Vietnam, and great experience, right? Just a great experience. Something that nature puts on for free. Hot fluids coming out of the ground that you can sit in and bathe in, and you can tick off. So here's the thing, right? I was watching a movie recently called Point Break. There's two of them. The early version, this is the later version. I won't go into the story too much, except that there's these guys that do adventure tourism, what do they call it? Like high risk sport activities like mountain climbing, sheer faces, and skiing down really steep slopes, and whitewater rafting, and surfing huge waves. And there's this concept, I think it's called the Kayaki 8 or something. It's called the Orinaki 8. It's named after this mythological guy in the story who has got these 8 major challenges, right? You've got to climb this amazing cliff, you've got to surf this amazing break. And there's this little crew of these guys going around the world and ticking off each of these challenges. And in order to fund their activities, they are basically conducting these high-level robberies, and then the US FBI or whatever is involved in trying to track them down. All right, so back to the Orinaki 8 or whatever it's called, the Vita Sapien 10. Or maybe it's the Vita Sapien 15 to make this really exciting. I haven't got the other 5 yet. So if you actually look down the list of Vita Sapien practices, I'm going to draw up a little template later on. You can kind of tick them off. Right, here we go. Have you said the I Biosphere poem? Yes or no? Just do it. Tick it off. Bang, it's easy. It takes 5 minutes. It's on the website. Number 2, do you live with earthity? That's actually a really big one. That's really big. So you can say, yes, I do, right, and tick it off. But in reality, living with earthity is kind of like a pretty serious lifestyle issue. And it's about living lightly on the earth and not being kind to humans. So it's not that difficult for innate Vetans, people who innately have Vetan-like characteristics, because that's what they do. Yes, they live with earthity. The third one you can tick off was, do you have a Vita mission? Do you have a particular mission in life that you're going to commit yourself to try and improve the well-being of Vitae Planeta and advance the Verdant Age? All right. Number 3 is grow something. Now, right now, well, I'm not really growing anything because I kind of move around a bit, but I did grow some cat grass the other day. And look, the point about grow something, whether it's grow a little, half a dozen little grass seeds in a bowl, it was actually in the 3D printed Vita Naga, the little bowl in the Vita Naga that I put some soil in, that I grew the cat grass, right? So the point about grow something, even if it's only growing a few grains, or even getting a single seed, growing it, or planting a forest, it's just this interaction with life, nurturing another living organism into being. That's what that's about. So there's something deep and significant about even planting a single grain, right? So grow something, you can tick that one. Be in nature is the next one. So be in nature is basically go out into wild places, right? So you can tick that one pretty easily. And maybe what you need to do is you need to go through this. Maybe I'll set this table up that, plant something on a monthly basis or as an annual basis. Or maybe the table basically allows you to tick the box whether you do that ongoing, monthly, annual, or whatever, okay? Celebrate the moon, which is, I've actually missed that one because there was a full moon the last couple of days. I did stand in awe and wonder and watch it. I didn't know the time of its rise, so I didn't see it see the horizon rise. But there's that one, you can tick that one off. Again, that's a monthly. Reinvent New Year, which again is a pretty broad concept around participating in the reinvention meditations. Know Your White Horse, which is about, do you know where to find spiritual solace in nature? And I think we're up to number 10, which is Enter the Flux, right? So Enter the Flux is basically, now you can't do Enter the Flux on your own, right? Because in order to enter the flux, you've got to die. So what you need in this ticking off the Vita Sapien 10 practices, or 15 or 20, right? Okay, is you need a partner. So you need some sort of a Vita partner, right? That can help to honor your wishes in entering the flux. All right, so that's the idea. So back to the journey, back to Marie, back to the hot springs. Now, last year or a year before, I organized a little event called Cosmos Night, where I've got on my Google Maps or Google Earth a sky glow chart, a sky glow map, right? And what the sky glow map is it basically shows the whole planet color coded into, I think, maybe 6 different colors, where black shows a place where there is 0 artificial night sky brightness. The sky glow map was generated out of a science paper that came from these guys that found a new way of calculating sky glow. You don't have to go to every point on the planet. You can actually do it using satellite surveys and other things. So they put out this new paper about how to calculate where sky glow was, or the sky glow intensity of places on Earth, and then they generated this file that you can download and put it onto Google Earth so that you can actually find the place. So what I did for Cosmos Night was I found the place that was closest to Brisbane that had 0 sky glow, and I went out there and I found a campsite, and I got a few of my mates together and we went out there with the view that we went out there in the middle of Milky Way season. So Milky Way season is the kind of part of the year, call it 3 months or so, when you look out at night time, you'll actually be looking in the direction of the galactic core. Like 6 months after that, you'll be looking in the opposite direction when there's not so many stars. So if you go out during Milky Way season, got a red light here. If you go during Milky Way season, you're going to see lots and lots and lots of stars. You're going to see the Milky Way. And if you go out of season, you're not going to see as many stars. Not so impressive. So we went out there. It was a new moon, which means that there was a very small amount of light being in the sky from the moon. That was good. It was a Friday, which meant that the next day wasn't a school day. And we went out there, and 2 vehicles, and one of the guys came along with this heaviest telescope you've ever seen in your life. So we're going to go and look at the stars in fine detail. Anyway, we get out there and it was overcast and it rained all night. So we didn't get to see even a single star. But anyway, that's the sort of thing you can do for Cosmos Night. And if you live in Singapore, good luck, not going to happen. You're going to have to get on a boat, I think. Singapore doesn't have full night. Nighttime in Singapore is permanent twilight. So I'm actually just come through Kenilworth, and now I'm heading in the direction of Maleny. I'm heading to a place called Esk. When I get to Esk, I'm going to figure out where I overnight, or whether I press on to Canberra. That's the plan. Anyway, so that's that's basically Cosmos, Lava and Cosmos, or Cosmos and Lava practices, and that's the beginning of the journey. I'm going to check in and share some more stories with you soon.